You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 42, and today's topic is mediums and psychics. Hey everyone, Adam Muselli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website, themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and website. And now, let's get started. Lots of people during our hypnosis and NLP training have asked me about ESP or extrasensory perception. And if it's real, and of course, that leads us to the first question, which is, what is the difference between a medium and a psychic? But before we get to that, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neuro-linguistic programming, or better known as NLP, or if you would like to become a life coach or even a counselor, now you can study all that totally online. All you have to do is visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you'll find all these courses online along with many other courses once you click on the online courses tab. And also all our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. The Mindtech Institute is an accredited institute, and for more information all can be found on the website themindtechinstitute.com. Now, before we start, I have a little disclaimer. In this episode, I will explain the phenomena or these abilities as they are, and I will also be referring mostly to the charlatans, the psychic and mediums charlatans and who falsely claim to have some special powers or some special knowledge or abilities to scam people. I personally believe that there are some legit psychics who I personally also tested, but sadly, they are probably only 1% or even less amongst millions of fake and wannabes. But in this episode, I'm not gonna be referring when I say about some scams they do. I'm not referring to the legit psychics or the legit mediums, because we all know they exist. We all know these ESP abilities, they do exist. Even science doesn't deny them, as we have been talking about in the last couple or few episodes. But here, there are some tricks, as anything else, there are some tricks some fake and wannabes use. So I also came across some people who, they are delusional. They believe they are psychics or mediums, but they are not. Now, those people are not fake and never should be treated as fakers, but they have big ego to admit that they need to do more practice. Yes, ESP, and as I mentioned in the last previous episode, we all have ESP abilities. We all have extrasensory perception abilities, but we just need to learn and practice. We just need to enhance and we need to develop these abilities. And the best way to do that is to learn from a good source and to practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. So it's like we all have muscles, but you need to hit the gym frequently to strengthen those muscles and make them visible. You can also take steroids to escalate the process and to fasten up the process. So as psychic and shamans do, when they use other psychedelic substance to accelerate and enhance the process of seeing or of having these abilities of ESP. So I'm not denying any kind of ESP, especially remote viewing, telepathy, telekinesis, and many others, but as I consider myself a rational, and I gotta admit that maybe because I came from a scientific background, social and behavioral science, I do find myself drifting towards the evidence of things, but at the same time, I don't deny something based on just an opinion or without researching it thoroughly. So with that being said and off my chest, let's get back to our main topic and our question, which was, what is the difference between a medium and psychic? And if they are both the same and And we'll talk about how real they are, how real the readings actually they do, especially mediums, how real and accurate those readings are, and the science, and of course, the scams. Now, mediums, psychics, communicating with the spirits or the others, all that is under the umbrella of extrasensory perception or ESP, as it was our topic last episode. However, not all psychics claim to be mediums, and not all mediums claim to be psychics. But then there are people who consider themselves psychic mediums. Let me elaborate more. When people start to realize, or better say, believe they have the ability to sense something other people don't, they start first practicing reading and working with other people. Primarily use their clairvoyant, which is seeing abilities to perceive information from the what's so claimed aura, which is simply the energy field of other people, or in science it can be called the biomagnetic field. So the aura supposedly contain information about a person's emotional, energetic, and psychical self from all aspects of time. Supposedly, just as memories are stored in the person's mind, emotions, events, and circumstances, they are all stored in the person's energy, but that which the person experienced in the past and what is coming to them in the future. So it's not only just now, it's more as time and space are all folded in together as one as a whole. Now, psychics and mediums claim to see the color of your aura, and they also can identify and address emotional thought forms, see events from the past still playing out in current time. So it's sort of the kind of stuff you relive and can feel sad or depressed about. And they also see the different relationships with other people in your life, those that were interacting with your energetic and psychical space. Now, using this information, the information stored in your emotional and energetic memory of the past and the present, they claim they could predict things for the future. Of course, the accuracy of psychic prediction can vary, but it's mostly based on using present and past data from your behaviors and life pattern to determine how things will go. And of course, you can change your behavior, thoughts, or patterns to be different from the past, and the future can change as well. That's why it is not scientific, because it cannot be tested in a lab or a controlled environment with consistency and coherent results. It keeps changing. The same goes with the spirit talking, or what is referred to as necromancy in the Bible, and there are around 30 verses in the Bible about it. I'm not a biblical scholar here, but of course, part of my studies as a social scientist, I had to learn about theology and different cultures, and of course, I like history. I'll do a whole episode about it, not the Bible. I mean, spirit talking, maybe next episode. We'll talk about possession and spirits, maybe. By the way, necromancy, it means talking to the dead. Necro in Latin, it means dead, as in necrophilia. You know, necrophilic people or necrophiles are those who have intercourse with people post-mortem, or dead people, or basically after they die. And mancy, it means communicating or conjuring. So necromancy, it means conjuring the dead or communicating with the dead. So psychics use clairaudience, which is the perceptive hearing, as I explained in the previous episode, clairvoyant, which is perceptive seeing, clairsentient, which is perceptive sensing and feeling as kinesthetically, and claircognizant, which is the perceptive of knowing information that they receive from you to provide you with a clear, accurate reading. Supposedly, they perceive your spirit. Now, keep in mind that each and every one of us has at least one of those abilities, as it is part of your intuitive sense. A practicing psychic has either naturally stronger abilities and or has practiced their intuitive abilities to be of service to, of course, others. But sadly, in the West, it became as an enterprise establishment. However, it is true that practicing psychic or intuition abilities increases their skill and you become better at it by time. It's much like a musical instrument. It makes you better, as does developing the tools of your intuitive, let's call them gifts, but I believe they are skills. On the other hand, a medium is someone who receives information supposedly from a divine source, acting as a conduit between this divine source and another person. Someone who is a medium has practiced connecting and linking their energy with the divine, usually an individual being, but not always to provide you with guidance or to provide you with information, support, and supposedly the love that is most helpful to you now. Also, all mediums claim to use their psychic abilities to interpret this information from the divine and from spirit. Thus, all mediums, to some degree, must have psychic abilities and practice using them, as psychic abilities are the tools that they use and the spirit also use to deliver the messages. All mediums are also psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. If a medium, for example, uses their clairaudient abilities to perceive information from clients or humans with the spirit, as they claim, they are transferring this tool of hearing to receive information from spirit without a physical body. So mediums are simply that, a media acting as a conduit to convey a message between two sources. Depending on the connection of each medium, they claim they may be able to receive information from deceased ones, from angels, from spirit guides, and also they claim from the ascended masters and the great oneness of source. I'm serious. That's what they call them. I'll get to that later though. So all psychics claim they have the abilities to learn how to connect with spirit to begin to receive information. And in addition to using their psychic perception when working with clients. Now all that takes practice and a shift in focus from the physical world information to the spiritual world information. In other words, both psychics and mediums exist on the same pendulum swing. It's just a matter of where they choose to focus. And each person, psychic or medium, will have a preference, comfort, ability, and a place where they feel they work best. For example, some prefer to use their psychic abilities to perceive with the physical world and the energetic nature with their clients, and are completely comfortable perceiving from themselves and their clients and not developing receptive abilities from spirits. Now, do I deny all that even if I sounded like I do? Absolutely not. But I am against scams, and I'm against scammers who play on other people's emotions for some personal gain or for their ego, and sadly, some of them are delusional. I don't deny such abilities, of course, not to the extent of spirits and ascending masters and the aura vibey talk, but yes, we have way more senses than our 5 senses. Go back to episode 3 if you want to know more about that, and you can listen to episode 4 on your way, where I fully explain scientifically with evidence how spiritual healing and motivational events are fake. Of course, you've got the small timers and the Kona palm reading shops and the other angelic services, and you've got those huge events where people pay big money and thousands of people go there to feel worthy or good for a few days, or they attend the faith healing or spiritual healing events to be touched by the Holy Ghost or some ascended masters. You know, I'm just curious to know those ascended masters and Holy Ghost, who they are working for money, and they are doing a lousy job even for money. I mean, look at the world around you and see the kind of job they are doing, and that's for money. So imagine if they're doing it for free. Well, I get it. We're all humans and we allowed that to happen because those masters and ghosts are testing us and testing our faith. It's the same God testing our faith paradox, which it has been circulating around for eons. Now, here are some tricks most psychics and mediums and con artists usually use. Once again, I am only referring to the charlatans. I'm only referring to the fake ones. And there are real, legit psychics. But those fake psychics, usually first, they build rapport with the person or with the audience and create like a like state between the con artist and the person or the audience. And we teach that in NLP, by the way, because we use it for therapy, not to con people. All that is available in the Hypnosis and NLP online training anyways. And the second trick they use is cold calling. Cold calling is, for example, when the medium or the channeling person, when they have audience, or if he has or if she has a person, a client, they ask him or they ask the audience, is there any Johi? Now, if there is, well, that's great. But even if it's no, as no, there is no Joe, that's okay, because they will move to the third technique, which is the Barnum statement. Barnum statement in social science, it's simply there is something for everyone. For example, they say, is there any Johi? If someone says yes, then they start with the ambiguous reading, which is simply a language pattern that we also teach in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and that is an open statement or something they say to be open to more than just one interpretation, or having a double meaning of a statement. If the medium asks the client, which he or she is doing the reading for, is there any Johi, or do you know any Joe? And the person said no, or the audience didn't relate to it, the medium will say, it's Joe, Joanne, Joseph, Josephine, Jim, Jimmy, Jimbo. No? That's okay. It's gone. Probably we had crossed lines, or we had disconnection, or we got disconnected with the Wi-Fi spirit, or maybe our aura got hacked. So the spirit was confused. So basically, that's the Barnum statement, that there is something for everyone. And after that, the psychic or the medium, they start to use a technique called recapping, which is the next step. The recap or the recapping is when the medium or psychic start to repeating what the person or the audience are saying to the psychic. So they start sort of repeating what the audience or the client or the person is feeding them. For example, if someone said, I had an uncle who died in a car accident, the psychic or the claimed psychic a bit later will start linking the dots to feed back the person the same statement they gave the psychic, but in a different way, just to sound like the psychic knew it all along. And that will lead to the next step, or leading to either taking credit for the reading as, you see, I'm good. Yes, I'm a good psychic. I knew it all along. Or if the psychic had no luck at all, he or she will start to use the blame technique. The blame technique is simply, for example, the psychic will say, well, try to remember Joe. Are you sure you don't know any Joe? Try to remember Joe. Maybe he was your grandfather and you forgot about him. Or, they start using those silly excuses, such as you're blocking me, or if the psychic actually is a good actor, will tell you, whoa, there is some big interference in the omni-universal aura and spirit cannot get through, or something like that, just to escape from the reality that he's fake or she's fake. So the blame game is basically the psychic or the medium is never wrong, but everyone and everything else and everything around them is wrong, but they are never wrong. But once again, I do not deny the ability, but as everything else, a good cause gets abused by bad people and makes the whole thing look like a sham, especially for the uninitiated. And if you think psychic and mediums and those ESP abilities are not real, well, let me tell you this, I've seen it. Some law enforcement officers, they use psychics to help them with cases. But of course, they cannot say that. Of course, they cannot present that in a court hearing. So psychic, it is real. Those abilities are real. And I wish if I had more time to explain more about how they work. But they are real. They do exist. But there are lots of fakers. There are lots of charlatans as anything else. I mean, even a religion can be something really beautiful. Anything about God, if something positive, if something that will help humanity from this ignorant and selfishness state, that's something great. But once again, even God, if you believe in God, even that word or that noun or that thing is abused by bad people. And as always, let's keep an open mind, and certainly we do not know what we don't know. That's it for today. This episode was a bit long. And once again, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neurolinguistic programming, NLP, a life coach, or a counselor, now you can study all that online. All you have to do is just visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you will find all these courses along with many other courses online by clicking just on the online courses tab. And also all our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized globally. The Mindtech Institute is an accredited institute, and for more information about that, all can be found online, themindtechinstitute.com. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, as usual, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli, signing out.